Welcome back to another episode of Modeling on the Fly with 3ds Max. And we're still working on the non-business end, I suppose, of our AT-AT walker. And let's see, if I take a look back through our pictures, we were looking at this lovely shot of the posterior of our AT-AT. Now, I'm not going to worry about this little cutaway piece here. We could add that if we wanted to, but I'm going to omit that. I like that we've got a hexagonal grate, and I didn't even realize this isn't even hexagonal. This is diamond-shaped. So we did all that work. I won't say for nothing. I thought it was a really cool trick. But we could have just made a regular basic grid and then turned it 45 degrees and scaled it up a little bit to get diamond shapes and done the same thing. But now you know another little thing to add to your arsenal. So what I want to do here is put together something that looks a little bit like this. It doesn't have to look exactly like this as far as I'm concerned, but something close so that those who are staring at this on the back end get an idea of what they're looking at. So let's see here. Let's just start off. Let's do a couple of things. Let's press F4 for just a minute and do a big marquee selection. Press M, drop on our modeling material. All right. So I just wanted to see what that looked like. Now let's come in here, and I'm going to grab an edge here on this guy, and let's ring this and do a connection. And I'm going to slide this back a little ways. Say it's right about here. And click OK. Now let's grab this edge, and we'll ring this one. Convert this over to polys, and then nuke it out entirely. Now, let's switch over to borders. So we'll hit 3 and grab this guy and cap it. And then once we've done that, we could clear off some extra detail. Like, we could grab this guy. We could potentially get rid of that. You know what, though? Now let's go ahead and nuke it. Who needs it anyway? Let's just grab this, hit loop, and control remove. Now we're going to hit 3 again. Let's get this guy, and we'll cap this one as well. And let's switch over to polys, grab this, and I'll shallow this out just a bit. So it has some thickness there. Now, I have that image that I just showed you off screen, so here it is one more time. Watch all. But I'm going to have it over here, out of the way, so I can glance over at it and still kind of get back to work. If I need to point something out, I will bring it back over. But the first thing I'm going to build is, all right, fine, let's point something out. I want to build this kind of cross-like section or something that really closely resembles it. And there's so many ways to pull something like this off, but I'm going to try for the simplest way. In fact, to make things a little easier, I might omit the fact that these punch in and just replace them with cylinders that stick out so I don't have to worry about a Boolean, or do something like create a tube that extrudes out and connects into all this, just to kind of speed things up. There's a lot of different ways we could do this, but I'm just, like I said, I'm trying to really kind of wrap things up. So let's go to standard primitives. Let's just start with our basic box, which I'm going to kind of fit up into here at a nice degree of thickness, frame up on it. That looks pretty good for starters. Let's go ahead and convert this over to an editable poly. And let's see, let's make sure that it's sitting right in the middle of our scene. I'm going to grab edges, give me these 2 edges, and ring and connect. Give me 2 segments to that, and then I'm going to pull those segments apart a little bit. So, a bit like so. Click OK, and let's switch over to polygons, get this guy, make an extrusion. And that'll work. So we're just kind of getting the very most basic form of it in place. Now, let's see here. Let's start right here. I want this edge and all the way out here to the ends, and we're going to do a real big chamfer to round this out. So we'll pull this out and then just start adding segments until we get something that looks really nice and round. And then we need to round these out as well, but the problem with doing that, well, if you tried it, you'd see the problem with doing that. It's just going to look nasty. So let's grab this. Give me this edge, and can we ring that? All right, that'll work. And let's connect these just once, like so. Now, if I ring this and connect this over, let's see. Let's do a slide that up to about there. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want a relatively close to a 45-degree angle right here. So now let's grab the cut tool and go from here to there to there. Now, I'm going to switch back over to edges. I don't want to be cutting, so I want this edge and this edge, all these guys. And I'm going to... Actually, can I loop those? What happens if I loop? Oh, that's nice. Yeah, let's go ahead and remove those. So those are gone. Now, let's get these two edges. And let's do a fairly heavy chamfer on those. And that doesn't really give us what we want, so I'm going to cancel, grab these faces and nuke them for the time being. Just because it didn't do what I wanted. So it must be punished. Now let's do a chamfer. Actually, we probably have to do the back as well, so... And we don't really need the back, so we'll just remove those. Alright, so now let's chamfer without any other edges, and that should be able to round those out really nicely. So that seems to work. As a matter of fact, it works so well that I'm going to do a couple of things. First off, let's get out of editable poly mode. Let's drop on a symmetry modifier. And set this to X, and that looks good. Now let's jump over here to edges, and let's see if I move one side. Good, it's working on the other. Sort of. Show the end result, please. There we go. Fantastic. There we are. So now what I want to do is grab some faces. Let's select by angle. 45 should be okay. And let's move these not in local space, but in view or world. And we don't want this face. Arrgh. So deselect that guy. And then we'll slide this over. Looking good so far. Now, if I bring this back over, you can see the shape we're starting to build. So it's doing most of this. Not quite done with it yet. But to take it a little bit further, we can grab this edge and we can chamfer it. And I'll pull down on the amount. Something that's rounded out about like so. And let's go ahead and convert this over to an editable poly to lose our symmetry modifier. Now, a couple of things to clean this up. Let's go to edges. Give me this edge and this edge. And I guess we could have left the symmetry modifier. I didn't want to. So let's bridge that, and then let's see if we can bridge this. Then I'm going to grab edges here and here. Let's connect those once. Jump over to vertices. Let's do a target weld from here up to there. And let's see. Could bridge that over. If we wanted all these to cut inward, then we'd have to get a little fancy with that. Well, let's do one thing at a time here. Let's just hit 3. Ooh, hang on. We need to do some more bridging. Bridging! Alright, you go there and bridge. Now, if we were to try to grab, well, this guy and get a border, see, we can cap that. Then just to be safe, excuse me, so that nothing too scary happens later, let's just kind of hand tessellate all this stuff. All right. There we go. Cool. Now, let's see here. Let's just do something similar here. Let's get borders. Make sure we're not cutting anymore. And let's cap this. We'll get the cut tool back out. And we'll just cut up through here. And whatever that just did, we don't want to do that. And, well, it doesn't like it when we do that kind of over and back cut. So let's just cut once and see what we get. And we'll anchor these off, which hopefully will solve that funny little issue with the calculation there. And it looks like it did. Alright, cool. And that still looks really bad. So I wonder what that's all about. Well, suddenly it becomes obvious, huh? Let's see. Well, if I was going to fix that, I guess a quick way would be to grab all these and weld them all to one vertex. Click OK, and then do a target weld from here to there. Now, how many vertices do we have at that point? We have vertex 93 only, yeah? No, we have 3 vertices. So let's weld those down to 1, and that solves the problem. Excellent. Now, back to faces by angle. And we need a really low angle, so like within 2 degrees of each other. So that gets all those. And we need to convert that over to edges. Actually, oh no, let's try it. Let's just see. Boom. Yeah. Alright, well, I should be able to marquee select and get rid of a lot of these. And what happens if I loop? Well, nothing too fancy, but I should be able to quickly add these back in. Alright, and let's do a chamfer here. And pull that way down. So it's just adding a little bit of rounding and nothing else. Click OK, and there we go. So now come back over here to our picture, and that's looking pretty close, actually. We got this little cylindrical piece up here that sticks out the top. Now, if we wanted to be really hardcore, we would make that out of a compound object. I'm not going to do that. You could put it in and then combine it with this one, clean up the edges, and then they should merge together pretty well. 3ds Max is actually really good at that, which does make me envious sometimes when I'm modeling in Maya, but now we're going to keep things a little simpler in this case. So let's pull this out, pull down the height, and center that up, slide this down a little. And if we take a look one more time, we could probably just real quick convert this over, grab polys, do a quick bevel. Okay, we'll do an inset. Do another bevel with a negative amount. Do an extrusion. Goes in just a little bit. And there we go. Now, back over here. Let's create cylinders, and I want a little cylinder to go down here in the corner. Like I said, we could make that a punch-in, but I'm not going to. Let's pull this down. This can be maybe 26 instead of 46, and it'll still do its job. Let's convert this over. Grab polygons, and let's see if we can do another bevel. Okay. Go back to object mode, put that right about there. Switch over to world, transform coordinate center, mirror, copy, okay. So there's another one. And maybe just a little box right there of some sort. And we should be good. So go to create a box. So let's convert that. Let's grab polygons, ignore back facing at 145, also select at the other 45. That should be everybody. Convert that to edges, chamfer, click OK. And it still grabbed all the edges. That's okay. We'll just sync that in. Boom. All right, now, next thing. That's pretty blank. We got some little funny guys that sort of hang off the sides here. We've got what look like some repetitive circle coily things down here, a couple of vents, another vent here, some interesting shapes. Let's see if we can get this kind of underlying interesting shape. It's kind of trapezoidal, it's pretty rounded. Looks like kind of a prime candidate for something you would make with splines, yeah? At least I'm thinking so. So, let's see. If I really wanted to make that out of a spline, well, how would I do it? Here's one way. We could start here with a rectangle. And we could round the corners out a lot. Now, let's convert that to an editable spline. Start playing with some vertices. So let's get these guys, and we're going to slide them out. And this guy, we're going to change the angle of... Now, let's see here. Lock handles, please. There we are. So, lock-like handles. Okay, now I'm going to symmetrize this to get the final shape, so I'm not too worried about what's going on the other side, at least not at the moment. And let's pull this over a little bit. Cool. Now, let's drop on a bevel modifier. Wow, that was a little bit over beveled, don't you think? Height set to 95. Well... This is the special model of AT-AT. Alright, drop that down a little. Start outline should be 0. Initial height up to here. We don't need level 3. Let's just do a level 2, which should have a height of 0.1. And put a little bit of outline in there. Alright. Now on top of that, let's drop on a symmetry modifier. Which gives us pretty much the shape. We could make the whole thing a little wider though, I think. So I think at this point though, we could go ahead and convert this over to an editable poly. And we'll probably end up, well, let's do this. Let's drop symmetry real quick. Let's convert it over to an editable poly. Then symmetrize it. Of course, we could just, collapse below, but I didn't think about that at the time. Vertex, show me the end result. Give me these guys, slide them out a ways, and that should fit in there pretty well. Okay, groovy. Now, grab the picture. And we've got kind of a similar shape inside that is going to kind of round out and do some of the same stuff. So, let's see. I wonder if we can get away with doing this. I'll bet we can, but we don't know until we try. So, let's convert this over, basically collapse it. Give me these guys, and let's see if I can get away with doing just a little bit of an inset. Yeah, it seems to be working pretty well so far. Click OK. Now, let's grab slice plane. And let's rotate the slice plane. And we have rotation snapping on, which is great. Rotate that to 90 degrees. And, we probably need to be in vertex mode or something so that we can just slice through everybody. because I don't want to have to deal with that with just a few people. Click Slice. And now we can switch over to the Move tool. Let's get out of the Slice plane. And I'm going to turn on Edge Constraint for just a minute while I adjust the height of that. I should have done this probably at the Slice plane level, but So, yeah, let's pull this down a little bit to right about there. Okay, now let's grab faces, just these guys, and I'm going to Shift Select and turn off Edge Constraint before I do anything. Yay. And bump. See, why can't Max be psychic and just know that I don't want Edge Constraint on? Oh well. So now let's let's grab you and do an extrusion. Yeah. Now we want edges on this and this, and we're going to do a chamfer to round that out and add a couple of segments for additional rounding. Click OK, and then we can grab this edge here. Can we loop that? What do we get? Well, nothing like what I want to get, so let's grab these, convert those over to edges, deselect the edge in the middle, and then do a chamfer. Ooh, a little bit of madness there on the inside. You know what I say when that happens? I say reevaluate what edges you need. So let's remove that. Now let's grab this and do a chamfer. Okay. And it looks like we need to center up the pivot on that. And we'll slide this in. So there we go. Now, so we've got the next elevated area. We could do a little tube in the corner. So let's go back to create, make a tube. And Max is thinking about some stuff. So boom, boom, boom. We don't need so many height segments. But we can convert this to an editable poly. We can grab edges here, we can ring those, convert to polygons, do a quick bevel. That goes out a little and then rounds out a little, and click OK. And that takes care of that. Now what else? Not much. We could probably just leave it just like that. Now we have some vent work that goes in underneath this. I'm thinking that we've got the vents already, or something we can use for said vents without having to go make anything else. See, I think if we go all the way back here, well, maybe not. It doesn't do exactly what I want it to. You know what? That's fine. I'm not going to fight it. I could make a different vent, but a vent is going to be a vent in this case. Boom. The audience will never know anyway. Alright, so let's align you to right there. Click OK. Frame that up. Center it out in X, or try to. Let's see. Let's effect pivot only, center to object, boom, and then center it up in X. That's better. Now let's scale the whole thing down, scale it up in this dimension, and it just kind of works. So we got some great work right there. Now I have some other vents here as well. That, let's see, let's jump back over here. They sit right up above this whole shape. Let's see if I can just knock those out just by building something. So let's grab a box and put it right about here, like so. Convert to editable poly, and let's do it like this. Let's see if I grab edges, U, ring, chamfer, not quite that much. And then let's go with an inset on this polygon. And click OK. Then, let's see, let's do an extrusion now. pull that in a little bit. Click OK. Now let's switch over to edges. I'm going to get this edge, and let's do several connections. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, let's see, 19. I think that should work. If I'm off by 1, then I'm off by 1, but I don't think I am. Alright, so boom, and let's get you, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we're 1 off. Well, you know. That's what I get for not trying to count it out. But that's alright. Let's go over to edges again, and now we just click connect, and kick that up to 20. We should be fine. So now, back over to faces, give me every other face. Excellent. Now let's extrude these again. Inward extrusion, nice and deep, like so. And let's grab the alternating faces out here in the front. Actually, you know what? I want to do something kind of special. I know it's going to make this take like an extra second longer to model, but, you know, tough. Let's cut that down like so. And let's cut this one down like so. Did that take all the way? I'm not sure. No, apparently not. So, cut one more time, please. Alright, cool. Now, give me just these two, and let's extrude those as well. So now everybody's back there. And now we should be able to grab, well, unless we deselect everything. I'll never understand. Alright, let's see. Let's grab faces. Yeah, alright, fine. We'll just click them this way. We'll do a little bevel on these. That's not a little bevel. This would be a little bevel. And there we go. So now we've got that little vent that sticks in over there. Or something close to it. Mine runs in the opposite direction. Alright, that's great. I don't care. Now, we've got a rounded box with, I don't know, just some stuff sticking out of it. So let's make a rounded box with some stuff sticking out of it. Now let me check a couple of other things. Yeah. Alright, I'm cool with that. So do a box. And we'll just make it about like so. Give it some depth. That's a lot of depth. But you know what? That may be a good thing. Because then we can take it, excuse me, and we can sink it all the way back like so. Go ahead and convert it. Center it up. Now let's grab some edgies, and let's chamfer the edgies. So, something like so. Click OK. Now let's take another quick peek. Yeah, it's just got stuff on top of it, so there shouldn't be any problem at all with grabbing you, converting you to edges, and doing a chamfer. And we don't really need that many segments there, and we don't need it to be quite that much. There we go. Now what kind of stuff do we have here? A couple of cylinders, a little line in the middle, some sort of flared out boxes with stuff connected to the top of them. So and here's some funny cylinders with other cylinders sticking out of them. So let's just start up here at the corners. Let's go to create, make a cylinder. And we'll just draw this right up here, extend out, frame up, right click, convert. Polygons, give me a real quick bevel. out and scale in, maybe not quite so far. Click OK, do an inset, not that much inset. Click OK, extrude, like so. Click OK, bevel. Great. Get out of editable poly mode, switch over to world, which we are. Transform coordinate center, mirror. All right, so there's those. All right, now, bump. Now, those have stuff on the inside, but I'm not too worried about that. We've got 3 little roundy thingies. You see, these all kind of look the same, kind of, sort of. So let's assume that they are the same, and we'll make. Let's just do a chamfer box. Let's cheat. I like cheating. Well, sort of. And then, yeah, so there, boom, and then roundy, yes, very good. Give that a little bit more height so that we can just kind of stick it through the shape. And let's see, where did my move tool go? Oh, well, great. Put it at the center of the selection, and it helps. So there's that. Center up, so it looks good. Now, let's double check the overall proportions. That should be a lot shorter for where it is. Kind of sticking out a little far. So let's slide it up a little bit, maybe like so. Let's grab its length and pull it down. Say, oh, wrong guy. Pull this guy up to right about here. Now let's shift drag a copy so it sticks out of there. And click OK. We'll center it up. Kind of eyeball it. Now back to reference coordinate center. Mirror. Okay. Fantastic. Now, what else? Well, we've got this funny little flared out box shape with another funny little box on top of it. So let's make that real quick. So let's make a box. Say like so. And we'll extend that out. Go ahead and convert that right off the bat. Grab edges, and we're going to slide this edge back and down too. Why not? And so let's see, let's take this edge and we'll pull this up just a little bit. Okay. And let's see here. If I switch over to polygons, and if I switch off ignore backfacing, let's see if I can do this. Let's grab all these and then wait for Max to come back to me, and then grab all these. Hit Control I. I can delete that backface. Now let's grab only edges, and let's see. If I make a sideways selection like so, I should be able to get all these. Let's turn back facing back on though. So, boom. And then I should be able to chamfer all these at once and round that off. In fact, if we wanted to add another segment to it, probably could. Okay, now, there may be a gap there, but I'm not too stressed about that. I think I'm just going to leave it alone. But what I'm going to do is grab this guy, and let's switch back over to selection center, pull this guy out here. Now, I need to fix his normals, and to do that, I'm just going to go ahead and convert him to an editable poly, hit 5, grab this, and let's just remove all those smoothing groups. Now, let's align normal, bump, like so, and then just stick him right here. Set his angle to 90. And slide him over. Maybe sink him down into the shape a little bit. Now let's do a couple of other things. Let's come back over here and create another cylinder. And if I scroll down to the settings, we should be able to create one like right here. Give it a little bit of height. And then I'm going to slide it out a little bit. Put it up here. And I'm going to drive it down into the surface a little bit. Let's play with its settings. So let's increase the height. And let's see if we can do a slice. So from 0 to 180, and you give me that. All right, so what if I say slice from 90 to 270? Then what do you give me? Probably the exact opposite of what I wanted. So let's go from 90 to 280. There we go. And that gives me what I'm actually looking for. And let's convert that. Let's grab edges. Give me this edge and this edge. And loop those. You don't want to loop. Well, that's fine. I didn't really want you to loop anyway. How's that? What if I told you that, huh? What would you do? Let's do a bevel. And not that much bevel. Just a tiny little bit of bevel. And click OK. Now let's make another cylinder. Let's make a tube. That's what we should make. Yes, let's do a tube. And we'll pull that out, and then clicky, drag outward, and get the move tool, and stick that out of there. Center that up. Oh, don't do that. I don't know why that tried to move that, but, you know, there you go. Come on, clicky selection guy. There you go. Alright, now let's grab edges, and on this guy, oh, we can't grab edges until we make an editable poly, then we can grab edges. And we can ring these, we can convert these over to faces, we can do a little bit of a bevel, and that's not a little bit of a bevel, this is a lot of a bit of a bevel. And there we go. Get out of there, grab these two guys together, center on world, do a mirror, a copy, there we go. We've got little tiny buckly things on top of here that, let's see, yeah, that went, oh, I actually pulled that away. That's amazing that I did that. So boom, let's make a copy there. I didn't even realize I'd done that. Let's center this and slide that up. Now there's this funny little half circle wire thing that's about to be omitted. So did you hear that get omitted? Phew, it's gone. Let's do a box that I'm going to grid a line right here with a lot more height than you'd think I'd need, but not that much height. Get the move tool out, and I'm going to move locally and slide this back in through here. Convert that over. Grab edges, and I'm going to do a real careful selection right through here to get all those. Let's do a little bit of a chamfer, like so. And let's see here, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, let's try this. Can I get one of these guys? Lordy, lordy. Alright, now let's attach. Boom, boom, boom. Right click to get out of attach mode. Let's center up the pivot. And center to object. Get out of there. And let's center this up. Make sure we're in view or world. Boom, and that's dead center now. And there we go. So that takes care of that. We need to copy this over. So back to world, transform coordinate center, reference coordinate center, whatever. Copy, boom, off to the other side. Looks good. We've got these funny things that extend out over here. Now these should be fun. So let's pretend that they're fun, and let's make them. To make them, oh, wait a minute, where do they come out of? They come out of that. So, let's see, then I need to change some proportions of a lot of this. Or just pretend that it doesn't matter to me, and which is actually true. Because that needs to stick up a little more, which means that, really, what this means for real is that these guys should probably be attached. I can fix this. I can fix this. But let's see. Let's see, that comes out there. That's gonna stick out here. I'm really so not worried about it. But if I was worried about it, here's how I'd do it. Let's attach these. Let's drop an FFD on there, and let's grab control points. Get these control points and slide that down a ways. Just a little bit. Okay, get out of here, and let's just reconvert that to an editable poly, or an editable mesh. No, poly. Now, these two fellows don't need to be there. Let's move this up here, like so, slide them down, and away a little bit. In fact, I'm going to delete this guy, grab this guy, slide him over, and then recopy him, just to be picky. Alright. So now we've got these funny little things that extend out. And these should be easy. So let's go to cylinder. Let's make cylinder. And extend this out. Give me some height. That's a lot of height. It's a lot more than we need because we've got another layer of elevation if you take a look. We got this funny radiator piece that's going to have to be back there as well. So let's see about adding that first. Actually, I'm gonna keep the cylinder. We're not going to nuke that, but we are going to get it out of the way for a moment. Let's create a box. Yeah, let's make a box. Give it some height, like so. Maybe a little more height. Okay. And let's convert this. Now, let's see here. I need to do a couple of things. One is I'm going to grab, say, this polygon right here, and we're going to scale it out to make kind of a taper effect. And grab this one, we'll scale it in to accentuate said taper effect. Okay, looking nice so far. Now we need to do a whole bunch of chamfering. So let's ignore back-facing. Oh. Grab these guys. Grab these guys. Control-I, delete. And grab edges. We can get you. Get you. Actually, well, what am I... no, I don't want to do that. Thought I was going to do something, but I was like, nah. No, Zach. And boom. We don't want that guy. He can go away. Alright, so now let's chamfer this down to round it out a little bit. Actually, let's add a segment or two so it's nice and round. Let's adjust the smoothing groups. Auto smooth. Alright, cool so far. And let's see here. Bump. Alright. Still working out the way I want it to, so we're still happy. Let's grab the create panel. Let's make a new cylinder, which I'm going to make on the side of this guy. Stick him out. He doesn't really need 26 sides. You could probably get away with like 16 for what I got in mind. And we need to move this, so let's pull it out. Let's convert it. Let's grab an edge on the side. Let's ring it. Convert it over to polygons so that we can bevel it, so we can get some rounding. That's awesome. Let's say bump out, and then pull this in. And maybe add a little more. So there we go, some nice rounding. Now let's stick this through here. Let's get this up like so. Tools, grab the array maker. Preview, please. And let's see, well, we could go incrementally in X. That's rotation, Zach. You don't want to do that. Bump. Let's go negatively. Let's see if I increase the count. That's pretty close. That'll probably work. But you know what though? Let's not do it that way. necessarily. Let's pull the count back to 7. Click OK. All of these guys. And then world, reference coordinate center, mirror, OK. So now we have one on each side. Now back over here to this cylinder where we left off a little while ago. We're going to pull this over. We're going to sink it in. Around here, let's make its radius a little smaller. So it's right about there. Alright, looking good so far. Now, let's see. So the shape kind of like that. So I see what it's doing. And to make that happen, we need half of the faces all the way around it. So let's convert this over to an editable poly. Let's grab polygons, and that's the very topmost face. We don't need that one. And that's the very bottommost face. We don't need that, but we need everything in between on this one side. Let's extrude this out. That's awesome. It's pretty much exactly what I want. And click OK. Now we can get out of editable poly mode, sink this back in a little bit, say to about here. Now let's grab polygons. I want these guys. Let's extrude these out by not that much. Say only to about here. Awesome. Click OK. Grab just this guy by himself. Do an inset. Click OK. Another. Let's just do a bevel for this next piece. So out and then taper down a little bit. Not that much, just a little bit. Barely perceptible. Okay, and that's just going to cap off at the end. So we could click apply and then just do a little tiny bevel at the end. Like so. Alright. And that would probably work, but just on basic principle. Let's see, let's loop, get all that. And grab that and that, and let's do a quick dirty chamfer. Click OK, get out of there, and the pivot is pretty much still right where we want it to be. So we can take this, we can rotate it up a little bit. Sink it in just a little more. And world, reference coordinate center, mirror, click OK. The only other thing I saw were some kind of slanty, diagonal, boxy thingies. Actually, let's just cheat on these two. Let's make some chamfer boxes. Make it fairly long. Give it some height that comes at us. Just a little bit of chamfer on the end. Nothing's sticking through, which is good. And stick that through there and pull back through. Rotate it down, adjust the width and the length. I'm not going to worry about the little extra decorations on the sides. We'll leave that alone. So let's copy that over. And I think we've got something here. So I'm going to make a marquee selection of like everything back here. And let's hit M and drop on our material. Let's press F4. And there we go. So we've given that a whole bunch of detail. And we can go in there and play with smoothing groups. I'll do like just a couple that are really getting on my nerves. So this guy, he can be probably just auto smoothed, even at, well, 45 is a bit much maybe. Nah, we'll just leave it. And these two guys both need to be auto-smoothed. Let's pull this down, though. Let's say to about 20. Awesome. And I'll get this guy, and the rest of them I'm just going to leave for now. I mean, if you wanted to come in here and auto-smooth these, you folks know how to do that. And, you know, that doesn't really show much cool modeling or anything. So, 20, auto-smooth. Alright, so that, I believe, takes care of that. Now, if you wanted to add any other Greebles or anything like that, of course you could. It's all in your power. But that is going to wrap things up for this video. I wanted to say a big thank you to all of our member sponsors. They're the ones who provided you this video. Unless you are one, then you provided it yourself, and that's awesome. And I will catch you all on the next Modeling on the Fly with 3ds Max. You take it easy.